Okay, so if you're a founder, or maybe you just have this great idea, buzzing around in your head, you probably know that feeling of just hitting a wall,
Mm.
complete mental gridlock.
Oh, absolutely. You've got the vision, sure, but then bam, all these
Huh?
unknowns.
Right. Like, what's the right price? Who are my real competitors, not just the obvious ones? How do I even explain this thing simply?
Yeah, that fuzziness at the start. That's where so many potentially great ideas just fizzle out.
Well, today we're aiming to give you a bit of a shortcut past that fuzziness. We're looking into the 15th issue of the Thinking in Public biweekly newsletter. It's created by Alperin. And it really offers a masterclass in using, like, structured thinking to kind of tame that early startup chaos.
Exactly. And the core thing we're digging into today is the Founder Institute's Startup Prompt Library. Now, this isn't just some random list of questions for an AI. It's over 100 really carefully crafted prompts. They're designed to impose structure on building a company, guiding founders stage by stage. Think of the AI less like a brainstorm buddy and more like a virtual chief operating
A
officer.
virtual COO, I like that.
Yeah. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We've picked out 6 specific prompts from the newsletter highlight, prompts chosen because they have huge practical value. We want to show you exactly how this structured approach helps you validate ideas faster and, frankly, move smarter right away.
Okay, let's get into it. Starting right at the beginning. Before you build a single thing, you have to know who it's for. And the classic mistake, right, is building for this, like, imaginary perfect user who doesn't actually exist.
Definitely. Building in a vacuum.
So that brings us right to prompt 1. Customer archetype. This is under customer development, and it's designed specifically to replace those vague, kind of useless demographic personas with something actionable, a map of real behavior.
hmm And what's really interesting is the rigid output it demands. You feed it your basic idea, and the AI spits out a table, columns like archetype name, a proper description, their actual goals, their specific pain points,
Okay, goals, pain points. What
their
are
buying triggers. This is key, and importantly, where to reach them.
buying triggers and where to reach them? That sounds much more useful than just age 25, 35.
Exactly. It's for testing, not just description. The guidelines for the prompt, they specifically tell the AI, focus on real-world behaviors, forget abstract stuff. It makes the founder think, okay, when does this person actually stop doing what they're doing and actively look for a solution? That moment, that's the buying trigger.
Ah, okay, so it tells you when to talk to them, not just who they are.
Precisely. It cuts through that temptation to just describe someone who conveniently loves your idea already.
Yeah, it forces honesty. You have to define real pain and where they genuinely seek solutions. It prevents that confirmation bias loop.
Totally. So, okay, you've got your customer defined. Great. What's next? Well, it's articulating the actual idea without, rambling for 5 minutes. We all do it. Too much detail loses the punch.
Uh-huh. The elevator pitch problem.
Right. Which leads us perfectly to prompt 2. Problem snapshot, focusing on startup ideation. This prompt's whole job is ruthless distillation, turning all that complexity into one sharp, memorable sentence.
Okay, so I put in my paragraph describing my brilliant, complex idea.
Yeah.
What does the AI force it into?
It jams it into the who struggle, why now framework. Super simple, super effective. Think elevator pitch, first line of an investor email, explaining it to your team. It has to clearly state who's the user, what's their real struggle, the friction, the pain, and crucially, why does solving it now matter?
The why now. That's often missed, isn't it?
Massively. If the timing's off, even the best solution won't gain traction. This prompt forces you to think about market timing right alongside the product itself. No fluff allowed.
Okay, so we've got internal clarity. We know who, we know the problem, stated sharply. Now, we need to look outside, right? Face reality.
Exactly. You can't build a winning strategy just staring at your own navel. You have to understand the competitive landscape.
Which is often way bigger and weirder than founders first think.
Absolutely. So the focus shifts from defining your idea internally to validating it externally, which brings us to prompt 3. Competitor list. This is pure market research. It maps out the whole playing field, direct rivals, indirect ones, all in one digestible view. It forces you to look beyond the obvious.
What makes this output stand out? Is it just like a list?
No, the structure is where the value is. The table gives you the competitor name, sure, but also their type, direct or indirect. Very important distinction. Then their key offering, their strengths, their weaknesses, and the killer column, how we're different.
Okay, I get direct competitors. But why is forcing the listing of indirect competitors so vital?
Because your biggest threat often isn't the startup doing the exact same thing as you. It's often the big established player that solves the underlying need in a totally different way. Maybe a clunky way, but a way users are already used to.
Like using spreadsheets for project management when a dedicated tool exists.
Precisely. Or, if you're building a fancy new note-taking app, maybe your real competitor is just a plain text file and people emailing notes to themselves. This prompt makes you confront that reality, overcome that blind spot.
That's a really powerful point. Okay, so you understand your place in the market. Now you need a goal, right? A direction. We shift from the outside world back inside to metrics. Prompt 4, North Star metric picker. Everyone talks about a North Star metric that feels like one of those terms alongside Series A that can overwhelm early founders. Can you quickly define it, and why is it so easy to get wrong?
Sure. So the North Star metric, or NSM, it's basically the single number that best shows you're delivering core value to your customers. When that number goes up, it generally means customers are getting more value and the business is heading in the right direction long term.
And how do founders mess it up?
Usually by picking a vanity metric, like total signups. Looks good, feels good, but doesn't mean much. Instead of an action metric, like, say, weekly active users who actually perform the main function of your product, that shows real engagement.
Got it. Active use, not just signups.
Exactly. And this prompt gets strategic because it needs 4 inputs from you: your target audience, your main goal, your approach or strategy, and crucially, your current stage, pre-seed, seed, Series A, whatever.
Why is this stage so important for the metric?
Because a pre-seed company just trying to find product market fit might obsess over weekly retention, get people to stick around, whereas a later stage Series A company might focus more on efficiency or monetization metrics. Different stages, different priorities.
Okay, so the prompt takes those inputs.
Yeah.
And the output is what? A few options.
It gives you a table, yeah. Suggests maybe 2 or 3 possible NSMs. It defines each one, explains why it matters for your specific setup, and details how it drives growth.
But it doesn't just leave you hanging with options.
No. And this is the key structural benefit. It shows alternatives for context, which is great for understanding different paths. But then the AI actually recommends one final metric, just one. It forces that focus.
So it ensures the chosen metric is clear, measurable, and really tied to that core user value. Stops you chasing too many rabbits.
Precisely. It channels your resources.
Okay, that internal clarity on success measurement leads us right into, well, how do we actually talk about this value? How do we communicate it?
Yeah.
This next part feels really actionable. We're talking rapid, low-cost testing, stuff you can do without rebuilding the whole product.
Yeah, getting out of the building, digitally speaking.
Prompt 5, Marketing Message Tester. This sounds super useful. You feed the AI your product basics, and it spits out 3 different value propositions. Why 3? Why different?
The power is all about enabling A/B testing. Simple as that. The guidelines actually insist. Each message must take a different angle. So maybe one focuses on speed, get X done 50% faster. The second might hit cost savings, save Y dollars per month. And the third could be emotional, like eliminate the stress of Z.
Okay, different angles on the same core value.
Exactly. And they have to be short, 1 or 2 sentences. Clear enough to slap on a landing page, use in a cold email subject line, test as ad copy. It just gets the founder ready to test immediately.
Yeah.
Find out what message actually resonates with real people instead of debating endlessly about the perfect wording internally.
Love that practicality. Okay, last but definitely not least, we got to talk money. Revenue.
The ultimate reality check.
Right. You can have the best product, the clearest metric, the most resonant message, but if the price is wrong, game over.
It all falls apart.
So that brings us to prompt 6, pricing experiments, which gets into revenue models. And it doesn't just suggest a price, which feels kind of static. It suggests actual experiments, like
Right.
testing higher prices or bundling.
Exactly. It's about de-risking that financial uncertainty through quick, practical tests. The output here is designed for immediate action and measurement. For every experiment it generates, you get 5 interconnected things. You get the experiment name, simple enough, then a detailed test description, like exactly what to change and how.
Okay, clear instructions.
Then the hypothesis, what do you actually expect to learn from this? Then the metric to track, are you looking at conversion rate? Average revenue per user. Churn. And finally, the risk level low, medium, or high.
The risk level is interesting. And I noticed it mandates testing higher pricing. That
Wow.
feels scary for an early startup, doesn't it? Why force that?
That's a great question, and it really cuts to founder psychology. Almost every new founder undervalues what they've built. They know all the warts, all the things still on the roadmap, so they price too low. Testing a higher price isn't just about greed, it's often necessary to understand the perceived value from the customer side. Are you leaving money on the table?
Ah, testing value perception. Makes sense.
Yeah. The guidelines are firm. Focus on simple, fast experiments, nothing requiring major engineering. And it must include at least one test for a higher price point and at least one exploring different packaging or bundling options. It forces you to push those boundaries. Find out what the market will actually bear.
Wow. Okay, so that six-pack of prompts we just walked through. Customer archetype, problem snapshot, competitor list, North Star metric picker, marketing message tester, and pricing experiments.
Yeah.
It's a really powerful illustration of how imposing structure can work. Taking that swirling chaos of founding something and forcing it into these clear, required outputs.
It really is. And if you zoom out a bit, look at the source materials context. This structured, systematic approach. It mirrors the methodology of the organization behind the tool. The newsletter's creator is also involved with Founder Institute Turkey. This prompt library isn't just a cool AI toy, it's built on their real-world, battle-tested experience helping startups. It frames this whole thing as a systematic way to speed things up, providing that structure early companies desperately need.
Yeah, you can really see that connection. And for you listening, the learner, the power here is pretty immense, I think. It takes that feeling of information overload, all those unknowns just swimming around, and forces it into clear tables, specific actions, defined experiments. It replaces that paralyzing question, what do I even do first, with a concrete task? Okay, fill in this column. Run this test.
It turns ambiguity into action steps.
Exactly. So we want to leave you with a final thought to maybe chew on. If AI, using these kinds of rigid prompts, can structure the utter chaos of starting a company into simple, actionable steps, what fuzzy goal do you have right now? Maybe personal, maybe professional. What big, overwhelming thing are you trying to tackle that might actually benefit from being broken down? Forced into a similar, structured, step-by-step framework. Just think about that potential. The power of taking something huge and fuzzy and forcing it into a simple, required output. What could that unlock for you?